Well, from COVID-19 to Mitch McConnell to his concerns about the Biden administration going after hunting education in public schools.
Our Jane Davenport sat down on an exclusive interview with Senator Rand Paul on several topics of concern for Kentuckians.
Doug, Lisa, that's right. Senator Rand Paul shared his opinions on the most important things happening to Kentuckians right now. This interview provides insight into what he thinks on each of these topics. The Biden administration announced they are prohibiting Elementary and Secondary Education Act funds for archery programs in hunter education. Senator Paul says it shows the bias the government has toward these types of programs.
For people in government to say, oh, you can't do this, it just shows the bias of people who have never really experienced hunting, never really experienced something like archery, and who have a sort of a, I guess, an irrational fear of weapons. I see the opposite. I see kids learning about archery and safety, learning about guns and safety.
After asking Senator Paul his thoughts on Biden's ESEA decision, we spoke about his opinions on the Biden administration's overall national position on gun reform.
The thing I worry about with some of the red flag laws, and one of the reasons I didn't support this, is the bill didn't limit as to what a red flag law could be. If people want to look for an area where Republicans and Democrats would agree, would be, why don't we go after the felons that are trying to buy guns? Let's prosecute them again, put some effort into it, and make sure they're not able to, get weapons.
We then transitioned into conversation about COVID-19 mandates, the origin of the virus, and what the government is doing to handle it.
And people looked at the genetic makeup of the virus and they said, there's some unusual things in the genetic sequence here that look like they were added. And so this isn't just me talking. This was Fauci, Christian Anderson, all these guys, Gary, they came together privately and they were all saying, I'm 50-50. Some of them were saying I'm 80-20 that this thing came from a lab. And even if you were only 5% concerned that it came from the lab, shouldn't we have rules to try to regulate this research so people aren't creating viruses that could wipe out the whole world?
Lastly, Senator Paul shared his concern regarding the health of Senator Mitch McConnell.
I wish him well. I don't see anything that I think has incapacitated him such that he can't serve. So none of this is really meant as any kind of criticism of him. But when I've seen the episodes as a physician, they're not consistent with dehydration. People don't stop for 30 seconds and stare into the distance and appear to be unconscious while their eyes are open through dehydration.
He says he believes Senator McConnell could be having seizures as a result of his concussion.
Now they say, well, we did a brain scan and he doesn't have seizures. Well, over 80% of the people who have seizures have normal EEGs or normal brain waves because they're not having a seizure when you give them the test. My point to all of them was simply, I don't know the ultimate answer, but I do know that my experience leads me to believe that it's not dehydration and that it still could be a seizure disorder after a concussion and that they shouldn't rule that out, mainly because if you're looking for an answer or looking for treatment, I think if you rule out things and say it's not this, when it still could be this, you're making a medical mistake.
Throughout all of the topics we discussed, Senator Paul maintains that he will continue to speak out about issues affecting Kentuckians. Reporting in Lexington, Jane Davenport, ABC 36 on your side.